Hello ladies and gentlemen, SeKo Starcraft back with some more Team Story Cup action. This time we got Quantic Hyun versus Liquid Taeja. Now I'm pretty sure this is the ace match between, I'll speed it up a little bit, both of these teams here at the Team Story Cup. When I was looking at the replays between both of these teams, this was the 9th and final one, which leads me to believe these are the two ace players for both of these teams respectively. Hyun and Taeja are obviously at the top of the game right now when it comes to Starcraft, and I find it very interesting to see what kind of strategies people bring out on ace matches. If this turns out it's not the ace match, I am extremely sorry, but I probably won't lose any sleep over that fact. Anyways, we are going to see an expansion first out of our Zerg player here. Scouts going in the wrong directions for the first Overlord. And coming down for Taeja, it appears to be a command center first on the high ground. So both of them are going for extremely macro-oriented openings. Now, there's not going to be any way for Hyun to scout this right away, so yeah, I wouldn't expect him to necessarily go for a third hatch before a spawning pool. But I would still expect him to be able to be quite greedy until he finds out what's coming at him. Now, when you're really, really good, and you'll see this with, players such as Taeja or maybe even Flash, people that are really at the top of their game, most of the time they're just going to play a really standard straight up opening. Every now and then they'll just throw in a cheese of some sort just to try to throw the other opponent off as to what they can do. But when you're really good, you just know that you can pretty much out macro most people out there. So if it comes down to just a completely even macro game, you can feel confident enough that you're likely to be able to win against your opponent. Then it's just good decision making from there on out. I was thinking about this more particularly lately with a friend of mine. You might see some of his videos on my channel, Mr. William Ilmatic Dubs, and he was asking me what were some of the major things that he could do to improve, and I was thinking about what were the biggest steps that I made personally that allowed me to improve. Probably the most obvious one that came to me really is around multitasking and understanding how to move quickly between different structures. I played a lot of Zerg, which Zerg I think is a great race to learn with because it is so micro intensive. You need to do so many things right, you gotta get your hotkeys right, you gotta balance economy with units. I consider it to be one of the more challenging races to play, and that forced me to really understand my mechanics very well at a very basic level. Units wise, a slight lead for Hyun, but with those mules, he's not really making anything bigger. Well, this SCV will get into there. There's no real need for Hyun to try to shut this SCV down any sooner. He did see the gas out of that, so he sees really what he needs to, and that this speed is being finished right now. Bunker is already on the way, so he should be just fine. He'll be doing supply depots up to finish the wall. And then I moved back to Terran to continue with my story about being better. I continued, oh wow, super wow. I continued along with, playing Zerg for the longest time, and then when I moved back to Terran, I found that my mechanics around hotkeys, building the right buildings, getting the production facilities, focusing on the macro, all that seemed to work a lot easier after playing Zerg for a while. Not that I would consider telling everybody to play Zerg for a little bit just so that way they can get better at it. Mostly because I hate playing Zerg versus Zerg and I wouldn't want to see the ladder flooded with more people playing Zerg. It's more about the fact that I think the basic mechanics of playing the game is really what's going to take you from the Bronze League up to like the Platinum, maybe even Diamond League. If you're just good at macro, building production buildings, getting out your supply caps ahead, you're going to do really well. I mean, you'll lose to a cheese once in a while, but for the most part, if you get really good at the economy, such as what we're seeing out of Taeja here, he's not doing anything fancy. He's just working really strong on economy while still knowing what's coming at him, to know that he's not getting rushed down, obviously. But he just says that I'm so good at just doing the macro stuff, that will give me the lead I need, that when it gets into the mid game and I'm ready to start putting on the pressure, I'll be good for it. I think that's a really great way to start off playing the game. Now with Taeja, I mean obviously playing at a really high level, there's some differences than playing at a really low level. For instance, it's not too often you can go 3 command centers with, 1 barracks and hope to stay alive versus most things. You just learn as you get better to be able to scout and see what's coming at you and recognize the danger. For instance, there's a lot of roaches coming out now. Now, these are going to chase away any hellions, but at the front, if Hyun actually wanted to go for some serious roach pressure, there aren't any mines out just yet. They'll be here soon. But he could actually get a lot of damage in with these roaches into this front, probably bust it down, maybe even cause a lift, if he really committed to that. Taeja, obviously being aware what strategies are popular right now, is somewhat prepared to see this happen. Third base is already finished for Quantic Hyun. Queens on each side. Creep spread's alright, at least it's connecting most of the bases. I do find that a lot of Zerg players on maps like this forget to connect the main and the natural. Doesn't seem like that big of a deal. In the early game, it's where it's most important. If it does go for a really fast drop out of Taeja, what you want to be able to do is obviously run your queens to help protect. Scan's going to see the timing of the lair, kind of. It's not going to pop in time for him to see it go down, but he knows that it's on its way. So likely we're going to see Spire Tech, particularly if Hyun scouts that this is going to be some form of bio widowmine build. Swarm hosts just haven't been really the metagame choice for Zergs right now. Still a lot of roaches out just for defense. If we look at the units, how many does he actually have? Yeah, only 6. Really only there to try to keep the hellions at bay. Economy-wise, I mean, Hyun does obviously have a nice lead, but the third base is already down for the Terran. He's got the triple command center with mules. Oh, don't lose all of your hellions. Only loses 1. You'll be able to go home and probably repair those. Good widowmine placements. We don't see... We saw 1 macro hatch, 2 macro hatches. I wonder if this is going to be some just really, really heavy roach. Oh, baneling speed. It looks like Hyun's going to try to finish this here probably in the next few minutes. Waiting for the baneling speed to finish. He's going to have this massive production with 2 macro hatches here. He's going to be able to get a lot of damage in if he wants to put the pressure on. Now, we don't see tanks or anything coming out because it's going to be bioplay. Mostly marines. A couple of marauders splashed in there, which will be good against the banelings. But... ooh, I hear an overseer morphing. There goes a dropship. We'll see what damage he gets done. Lots of units here. Now, I don't know... I wouldn't say that Taeja is super ready for this. I mean, his supply isn't that far behind the Zerg player. But happily, his drop will catch him off guard with all these units out on the map. Good pulls for the widowmines, only taking down a handful of zerglings. There is a drop going down right now. This should be able to do a fair bit of damage. Big baneling bust at the front. Let's see how the splits are. Keeping the marauders. Oh, yes. Really bad control out of Hyun there. If you guys noticed, almost all those banelings detonated on 1 marauder. Now there's a whole bunch more coming here. But these banelings will either kill a ton of economy or a ton of marines. We'll see what Hyun chooses to do. Looks like he's just blowing up a lot of SCVs, and I don't know if that's necessarily the right choice. Well, all the army's dead, so it's fairly the right choice. Looks like this drop did get cleaned up. We'll look at what kind of economy damage he got done. Only got 9 workers with that attack. Not that great. He will be able to clean up all these roaches. These lings are just jerking around here, not really getting much done, but they should be able to escape. This base did not get harassed during this whole time. Having these lings run up into this base would have got a ton of kills. So I think that's another little bit of a mistake from Hyun. Did get a lot of damage done, but you see the supplies are pretty much evened up again. We go to the units tab. Yeah, Taeja did take a big hit to workers, but he's not that far behind Hyun. So this game really is still quite down the middle. Bunch more banelings coming in. There's no creep over on this side of the map. Looks like he's going to go for another pressure. Good thing there are medevacs here. Pick up. Pick up. Good pickup. Now, does he remember the friggin' widowmines? Yeah, that wasn't the best hit. Sink. Sink, Mr. Widowmine. Whoa, there's a great hit there from the widowmine. We got another drop on this side here. I don't know how much damage it got done. Looks like there was 2 drops at once. Once again, Hyun does get cleaned up. He gets a little bit of damage done. Units wise, Taeja is pretty much caught back up in economy. And all he's really going to try to do is control this space in front of his 2 bases here. He should be just fine. He'll go clean this thing out. Does he have another command center finished that I didn't notice? No, he's not built another one. He hasn't been able to afford to just yet. Lots of lings. That's not the kind of composition that Hyun needs right now. Good positioning, but he might as well just pick up. Yeah. Tried to detonate the widowmines there. Didn't get the pulls that he wanted to. There's a couple of good pulls. Back at home, just more lings and banelings. The spire's on the way. Very late spire. But this is a really bad timing right now for Hyun. He's going to have to save up a lot of resources so that he can get out enough mutalisks to matter. At the same time getting his upgrades. So you'll see his supply being fairly stagnant for the next little bit. And his tech's not going to be in a good position until that spire goes up. So Taeja pushing out right now will be great because you can't really afford as a Zerg player to spend all of your gas on banelings if you want to try and go for mutalisks. This isn't a lot of marines here. I don't know where all of Taeja's army is. Looks like it's still back at home. 4th base happening. We do have a 4th command center on the way for Taeja, so he'll be keeping pace with the Zerg player. But now is really an important time for him to try and put some pressure on while the Zerg player is teching. Not that Taeja necessarily knows that. Oh, medevac, you better drop now. Medevac. Oh, it gets almost all of them out. These these marines will get cleaned up, just barely though. Oh, maybe not. These marines are what, 2-2? 3-3 is on the way, plus a super burrow. Oh no, drop. Great static defenses out of Hyun here. It's so worthwhile as a Zerg player. Don't ever think that it's a waste of money to throw down a couple of static. Oh boy. Oh, I didn't quite get the best explosion there. Pull the SCVs. Some pretty good hits. Looks like he got a lot of damage there. Let's see what kind of resources killed. Not a ton. Nothing too big. We don't have any mutalisks coming out right now from Hyun. And right now the Terran player has no defenses against them. So it would have been a good timing right now to try to make that happen. Command centers are... Oh, that's an interesting time to pull. There's still no wall up at the front here for Taeja. So a run by I think is going to be very, very possible here from Hyun. Taeja does have the supply lead. This could do a lot of damage if Taeja isn't aware. Or a big sandwich could be coming out. Nope, it looks like he is going to go for that run by. That was a big hit from the widowmine there. Another good hit. The banelings though have not been taken out at all. Looks like there's a little bit of indecision here out of Hyun as to what to attack. Good lift up on the command center, should keep that alive. Now at the front of the base here, once again, Hyun does not have a ton of army. It's all in production right now. So this might do a fair bit of damage. Looks like he's pushing out. Oh, big baneling hits. Widowmine hits. Lots of damage getting done. Pull. Nice lift up. Looks like he's just going to head over to the other base. That already got cancelled, actually. Oh no! That sucks. That was a great hit though. Unfortunately, as a Terran player, if you try to run back into your medevacs and your medevacs aren't with your army, they will run backwards to your medevacs and get smoked. Taeja lost a lot of marines doing that, but he's still got a really big lead and great positioning on these widowmines. Ugh. Oh, big hits. Those were huge. Let's see the kills on these guys. 13 kills, 20, was it 29? My eyes are bad. Give me a break. 2. He will finally clean these up, but those did so much damage. Still a drop over on this side looking for bases, and I'm sure that Taeja's very surprised not to find any. This will be a planetary, which is good because it's right in between the 2 bases. Do finally have the mutalisks out, but there's not really that many numbers here. Oh no, Hyun. Oh, that was expensive. That's the GG. Now, Hyun did have a lead for the first bit of that game. just did not do well against those widowmines. The widowmines, I would say, pretty much single-handedly turned that around. The drops weren't that impressive. That baneling hit on the marauder was really bad. But those widowmines, man, do they pay off so well for Taeja. Which is why the bio widowmine strategy is so big. Some people just counter it completely. Some people just lose horribly to it. Well, anyways, I believe that means that Team Liquid won this series against Quantic Gaming. I should have some more action regardless from Team Story Cup coming up real soon.